Okay, so hey guys, and welcome back to another predictions video. And in today's video I'm going to be predicting the Ennis versus Via fights. If you are new around here though and you haven't subscribed, please do so. Like the video if you don't like the video, and let's get straight into it. So going into this fight, Ennis is 30-0 with 27 KOs and Via is 26-1 with 24 KOs. This fight is a 12-round fight in the welterweight division. Ennis' last fight was a win via unanimous decision versus Chukadzian, and Via's last fight was a win via majority decision versus Ellis. Via's only loss came via split decision versus Vilasana back in 2019. Ennis is 5'10" with a 74-inch reach, and Via is 5'7" with a 70-inch reach. And so, like most fights, Ennis is the bigger guy. Like most fights in this division, Ennis is the bigger guy, and so he's used to that. And of course, he's going to have that reach advantage as a factor. This is in Ennis' home country of America, of course. Ennis as a fighter, he's a fast fighter who's big and physically strong. He's got quick reflexes. He's very powerful, of course. 27 KOs in 30 fights. Accurate, breaks you down, finds the angles, seizes control, counters well, inside or outside type of fighter, takes necessary risks, and he's sharp. I think overall there's been tipped about him being the best welterweight in the division. Obviously, there's of course Crawford and Spence, but after that, then there's a little break, and then there's people like Rocha, there's people like Ortiz Jr., there's people like Crowley, there's people like Ennis, there's people like Via, people like Ellis. So there's a kind of group there, and it seems like Ennis as the fighter, he's coming up and he is tipped to be the best out of that group, and of course we're going to have to wait and see them fights to see who is the best. But I think a fight like this is very much a necessary fight, and one which I'm glad that he's taken, and one which could be a potential banana skin for Ennis. And it's because Via as an opponent is a potential banana skin for any high level opponent, and he is definitely a high level competitor in his own right. And so Ennis, the fact that he is that bigger and stronger fighter, and the fact that he is taller and does have that bigger reach here, I think is going to play a factor. I think I'd like to see him stick behind the jab. I think I'd like to see him counter when necessary. I don't think I would want him to be too much inside, because I feel like he might take a little bit of unnecessary punishment if he is going to be fighting directly on the inside the whole time. Like I said, I would prefer to maybe have a little bit more of a range behind his punches, but I feel like even if it does go on the inside, I feel like he will have chances to definitely be the successful fighter. His negatives, I suppose, he can leave himself open at times. I suppose when he is taking necessary risks, there's still risks to an extent, and so they're still going to at times leave a little opportunities for opponents to take, and it's just if the opponents can take them, and in his last fight his opponent couldn't take them. Closing, he kind of does struggle closing off the ring. I feel like he possibly could have got Chukadzian out of there if he did close off the ring. I don't think Chukadzian really came there to fight and really go up against Ennis and really go up and battle him. I feel like he was just trying to survive at the end more than anything, but I feel like Ennis probably could have maybe closed off the ring, but I don't think he's that used to fighting somebody who isn't going to come in for a war against him and coming in for a battle. I feel like that's where he thrives the best, to be fair, Ennis, because like I said, he can fight inside or outside. I don't think he's used to being the one that has to push the tempo and has to be the one that pushes the pressure, and I feel like that's just what caught him out a little bit. It's still a very good performance from him, that last fight, but I feel like he just maybe could have done a little bit more. He's not as used to counter punches, kind of linking to what I said. So if he does eventually face a good high level counter punch, then he might struggle there, but I don't believe that Via is, to be honest. He can force the KO a bit too much, and that does leave himself a little bit open. It kind of leads to that factor, and he can be a little bit reckless at times, but of course he's also got that immense amounts of pressure on him as well, compared to Via, who in my opinion hasn't really got anywhere near as much pressure, to be completely honest. And so I feel like everything's going to play a factor there, and it's if Ennis is physically strong enough and mentally strong enough to be able to get through that, which I'm sure he is, but there is just going to be questions around that. Via as a fighter though, he's durable, tough, well conditioned, confident. He has momentum on his side after a very good victory, of course. Got a great chin, also hard hitting, pushes the pace, close range type of fighter, covers up well, presses forwards, changes levels, he's persistent, he outworks, and he has surprises in him. When I say surprises, I mean the fact of, on paper, he looks like the typical type of fighter who's just going to come forwards and take a lot of blows to then give back a lot of blows, which a lot of the times he is. But he does have the occasional little surprise in a way. He'll slip a couple punches, then go in with his own, and it's just stuff like that which you've got to be wary of with V. And I think that's what makes him different to other fighters, the fact that he does have that little bit of a surprise about him and an orthodoxness about him, that he can do that and catch you off guard with that. And I mean, other than that, like I mentioned, he's persistently good. He's, of course, coming in with immense amounts of confidence, and the fact he's going to push the pace, push the tempo, be that close range fighter. It's going to be a test for Ennis. I think Ennis, like I said, he's probably more used to this type of fighter than any other type of fighter. A fighter who is going to come forwards and is going to push the pressure. But if Ennis is going to want to stick behind his jab, then it might get little problems with Villa pushing the pace, as long as he doesn't get caught into any corners and struggle to get out of them. But I feel like Ennis has got a better IQ than that. I don't know, but we'll have to wait and see. Of course, Villa, I mean, he can get outboxed. He can be underestimated, and I suppose he's used to being that, so I suppose you don't really want to underestimate him. He's open to being hit, and he does struggle with speed, and that's what is going to kind of probably catch him out. I think the speed of Ennis is lightning quick, and so the fact that Villa has shown that he can struggle with speed at times is not the best, but of course he's well conditioned, so even in the later rounds I feel like he'll still be finding shots and having his own elements of success. But it's just the fact that he does struggle with speed a little bit, which might make him get outboxed a bit, and open, if the fact that he's also open to be hit at times, because he is just constantly coming forwards. Even if it is just landing on the guard, it's still shots landing, and Ennis is a very powerful puncher, and I'm sure they're still going to hurt either way. Of course, Ennis is the favourite for this fight, and I think that Ennis will win via unanimous decision. I'm going to give Villa a lot of credit by saying unanimous decision. I think Villa is, like I mentioned, durable, got a great chin, tough, and to be completely honest, I just don't think Ennis will get him out of there. I think it could be close. I feel like there could be times where he might do, possibly early on, possibly late on. Could be realistically at any point, but I feel like I'm just going to give that Villa that credit that he isn't going to let that happen and not going to be able to. And Ennis, even though he's immensely powerful, isn't going to let that happen. And so yeah, I'm going to go with a unanimous decision victory. And then where he goes on from there, like I mentioned in my prediction for the Ortiz Jr. Stanionis fight, could fight either of them two. Rocha is another opponent. Crowley is another opponent. Possible opponents there. I don't hate any of them types of fights, to be completely honest, but I feel like I mentioned in the Ortiz fight, I don't think that Crawford or Spence Jr. is going to stick around in this weight division after their fights have ended, so I have a feeling that none of them are going to end up fighting either of them two, to be completely honest, unless they move up themselves, which I don't know if they will, but either way, I think that probably won't end up happening anytime soon. But yeah, that is it for today's video. Hope you did enjoy. Like if you didn't, like the video, subscribe if you're new, and thanks for watching.